This one.
No, you're fine. We'll try to address it here, and we may add some more detail later. So your question was the status of Phase 2 of Highland Village. Eric, can you address that?
Yes, I can. So currently, where Highland Village Phase 2 sits in the authority standpoint is PCSA and the developer are coordinating on the remaining administrative items. Once all administrative items are complete, PCSA can adopt Phase 2 sewer line, and each individual lot would be permitted to tie in at that time.
What's the time frame for that, you think?
Well, we're working diligently with the developer, and we have been for a couple weeks now. They're hoping by July 31st. They got us some drafts on Friday. We're reviewing them currently.
So is this the issue with the line not staying right?
No, that's part of the remaining administrative items, but I wouldn't say that's holding things up.
Okay.
I think, easement agreement is the beefiest remaining item, and we just got the draft for that on Friday.
So there was an issue when they put in a pipe that's going to, that's going to connect to to our system. It was not exactly in the right spot. It was off by a few feet here or there.
Correct.
And the way our rules requires that we have, was it 10 feet, 15 feet on each side?
Yeah, 10 feet on each
10
side.
feet easement on each side of the pipe, and on one side it was only like 3 feet or something like that.
Correct.
And so the options were to relocate the pipe or to try to get an easement from Tractor Supply to have a little triangle section of property there. So it was, I don't know how the developer came on and missed the line. I don't know if I ever recall anything like that happening.
I don't either. This is the first development that we've had such an issue, and the contractor essentially elected to modify from what the approved final construction plan showed without first conferring with PCSA as they're instructed to do so, and as is noted in the pre-construction meeting. So they made a mistake. The contractor made a mistake. Developer wasn't aware. Surveyors went out, surveyed all the physical manholes and sewer lines as they were installed. You can see the easement as it was recorded, and you can see in this one area where we don't have the required 10-foot buffer on each side of the main line.
So the developer, I think, approached us about Plan A and Plan B. Plan A was to try to get the easement from Tractor Supply since the pipe was already in the ground, and Plan B would be to essentially dig up a small section of pipe and relocate it. And I think we agreed with their plan to go to Plan B if they can't get Plan A.
Right, essentially both plans are in play right now. The grant of sanitary sewer easement was drafted. For the additional easement we required to give us that 10-foot buffer that currently sits in corporate at Sea Mountain Ventures.
That's the company that's doing that?
Yeah, it's the owner of the Tractor Supply property.
Oh,
It's the corporate office, Sea Mountain Ventures, and that could be hung up in corporate for some time. So in the meantime, they're providing some additional bonding should they have to come in and relocate the sewer.
So what point do you think they'll make that decision?
I think that language is going to be included in the developer's agreement. I think we generally landed on 90 days, but we're going to adopt the sewer with that caveat in the amendment to the developer's agreement, and with the grant of sanitary sewer easement still sitting at corporate. We're comfortable adopting the line. We have enough assurances from the developer that we'll be made whole with option A or option B.
Okay.
So that's not going to hold up the adoption of this Highland Village Phase 2.
When do you think we would adopt it?
Well, again, they're hoping for July 31st. I know Rick, myself, and the solicitor will be working diligently this week to make that happen.
Do we need a motion from us to approve it?
No, I don't believe so. We already got contingent approval pending receipt of all administrative items, as is our standard operating procedure.
So is it fair to say that any delay is really on the part of the developer?
Absolutely.
So
When
When
will they start selling lots or a building?
I don't know about the inner workings of the developer, whether I'm gathering maybe they have already sold some lots,
Okay.
etc. So
They got a lot of sealed agreements, including one of there, I believe, but, I told her today on the phone that, they still have to, after we approve it, they still have to put the sanitary sewer private lateral in and do a third inspection before the dye test would seal the property, so. can happen real quick depending on how fast they react. We just reviewed some of the documents, like Eric was saying, the amended developers agreement, and we're reviewing that, an easement agreement, and then this private easement agreement. The private easement agreement, as Eric said, is not gonna hold anything up. After that, there's a couple more things that they have to turn in. And then once we give them okay, they'll be up there probably adamantly doing, laterals.
So,
Right.
just to sum up, is we've been supporting the developer as best as we can, and so we have to developer to continue with the progress of it.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Absolutely.
So, the easement agreements with Tractor Supply now.
Yeah.
And so if they don't act on that by the end of July, it sounds like they're going to Plan B potentially, which
Yeah.
is relocate the pipe.
Yeah, it's minor job.
And then they gotta go through testing and making sure it's,
We can, we talked, Eric and I talked about, like, over the 30-day on the one test they do, and we told them that we'd work that out with them. So that easement on that Tractor Supply is not holding anything up. It's a matter of the chairman said of getting the rest of the documentation and for us to say the line is adopted so they can start their process.
So the mislocated line is just one portion of the administrative stuff we need to do.
okay. Thank you.
So we recognize it, that you're anxious to build or whatever up there and trying to.
Oh,
support.
it's further along than anxious to build, it's, they're built,
Yeah.
they're anxious to turn on the water.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
And you're invited to stay the whole meeting, but it's not expected if you don't wanna leave.
If you will, yes, if you don't mind, I'm going to excuse myself.
Is this not really exciting for you?
Well, it is, but.
Yeah, it is. We understand, that's
No.
We'll
all.
only be here till 9 or 10.
No,
It's
Yeah.
not that bad.
That's true.
But really, I appreciate the explanation.
You're welcome.
Next on the agenda is Mr.